Good Saturday evening. We have significant severe weather going to start coming through the area with possible very damaging winds of 70 to 80 plus miles an hour. Humongous hail to baseball size possible, or even maybe even a little bit larger than that. And some tornadoes out there for tonight and going through tomorrow as well. So first, let's click that like button, the thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, it is a free service on YouTube to go over basically any current or short-term weather events across YouTube and we are also on Facebook as well. On our public page, we do short-term stuff. We do long-range stuff and on our supporter hubs on Facebook and YouTube as well. If you have not subscribed to us, like I said, it's free. Click that subscribe button, hit all notifications, and you will be notified every time we go live or post content on YouTube. Now, let's get right into the severe weather. Alrighty, we have a brand new watch that came out probably less than 5 minutes ago. This is for most of eastern half of Oklahoma, southern parts of Kansas, from basically Hutchinson, Wichita, down to Arkansas City, Ponca City, Oklahoma, down to Stillwater, Bartlesville, Tulsa, Muskogee, McAllister, Oklahoma City, Norman, down to Duncan, Ardmore, and Durant, Oklahoma. A couple tornadoes are possible. Scattered hail, hail up to the apple size, which is pretty big hail, and scattered damaging wind gusts of up to 90 miles per hour. And I cannot say that enough. 90 miles per hour straight line winds is possible tonight, which is over hurricane force. Hurricane force winds are at 74 miles an hour. So if you get to 90 miles an hour, you're basically into a Cat 1 hurricane across and close to a Cat 2. That is as well hurricane that's going to come through, basically winds that's going to come through a lot of this area. This will create a lot of damage if this happens. 4 million people are under the gun just under this watch. And as we go throughout the night, all these watches will be extended out into Arkansas and parts of Missouri as well, possibly down here towards northeastern Texas and into Louisiana as we get towards daybreak on Sunday, with multiple rounds of storms possible between tonight and through tomorrow afternoon. All right, I'm going to go over the south central areas first, and then I'm going to make my way down to the southeastern parts of the United States here in just a second. But let's talk about tonight. Oklahoma City to Fort Smith, Arkansas, Fayetteville, Conway, Little Rock, Hot Springs, down to Texarkana, over to Dallas, Shreveport, Monroe. This is the newest update as of 8:23 p.m., which is about right around 10 minutes ago or so. Like I said, I'm recording this video about right around 8:35 in the evening here. So this area of enhanced risk keeps getting bigger as the night goes on here. So most of Oklahoma, most of the southwestern 3/4 of Arkansas, almost down here northeastern Texas, Dallas, Fort Worth, Wichita Falls, down here towards, like I said, all the way over towards Monroe, and this enhanced risk is bleeding into parts of Mississippi, and I'll get to that part of the world here in just a second. Southern parts of Kansas under the gun as well. So let's take a look at the risks real quick. All right, here's the tornado outlook for tonight. Green is 2% chance of seeing a tornado within 25 mile radius within any given point here across the green here. And then the brown is a 5% chance of seeing a tornado within 25 miles radius of any given point in that area as well. So the tornado risk has went up a little bit across basically from the Red River all the way through central Oklahoma, all the way over towards Tulsa for tonight. So please stay weather aware in those areas. Have a way to get warnings in every area, basically. So NOAA weather radios, make sure you have that. You have battery backup. I've been preaching about that since we've had all this severe weather back in the spring as well. And this is continuing into June. This is a remarkable pattern we are in, kind of unprecedented pattern we are in for the month of June to get this amount of severe weather down here in the south central and the southeastern parts of the United States. Most of the severe weather is up towards the northern plains this time of year and into Canada. So that's where it should be. But we are in an unprecedented pattern. And I'm actually going to get into another unprecedented pattern we're going to be in. We're going to talk about the tropics here in a few minutes. So let's get back to the severe weather here. Oh, significant damaging winds is possible. This area has exploded and expanded with the latest update on the Storm Prediction Center. All of this black hatched area is significant, severe on winds. So we're talking, like I said, probably 80 to 90-mile-an-hour winds possible across this area. Anywhere in the black area, black hatched areas, 80 to 90 miles an hour, up to 80 to 90-mile-an-hour winds is possible across most of Oklahoma, most of northern and northeastern parts of Texas, far northern Louisiana from Shreveport to Monroe, and then most of like southwestern half to three quarters of Arkansas is under the gun for very, very strong damaging winds. This is going to be life threatening, probably straight line winds of 80 to 90 miles per hour possible coming through the area tonight into early tomorrow morning. Hail risk, significant hail of in excess of 2 inches in diameter, which is hen eggs. So we're probably talking up to baseball size, apples, stuff like that. So all the way through central Oklahoma, down here towards the Dallas-Fort Worth metro, down through central parts of Texas. This is where the significant hail is more likely to happen tonight. All right, as we head into tomorrow, some of the same risks is possible. We have an enhanced risk now out for central to southern Arkansas through northeastern parts of Louisiana going into Mississippi. I'm going to get to that part, southeastern United States here in just a second. But this is tomorrow, Sunday, June 18th, Father's Day. So if you have Father's Day plans, you need to have a way to get warnings to your phone. Keep an eye to the skies tomorrow, as we could have one wave of storms come in early, late tonight, early tomorrow morning, and then a little bit of a lull, and then maybe another cluster of storms somewhere around the noon hour, and then possibly another round as we go towards mid to late afternoon. So that's something that bears watching across this area. Some of the same risk will be in effect tomorrow, damaging straight line winds of 70 to 80, possibly higher than that, miles per hour across this area, and then damaging hail, probably up to baseballs again. All right, here's a severe thunderstorm or severe weather outlook for the rest of tonight. Slight risk down here in parts of Mississippi, going all the way to the Gulf Coast, parts of Florida, and all the way down towards Tampa, Orlando, and all the way down towards Miami. You're under a slight risk of severe weather tonight and then into early tomorrow morning. Then, as we go in tomorrow, here's the enhanced risk for most of Mississippi, basically excluding the northeastern quarter of the state, basically from Vicksburg over to Jackson and Mobile, Alabama, right around the Gulf Coast here as well. Montgomery to right around Birmingham, Tupelo up to Memphis, basically under a slight risk for tomorrow. Marginal risk on the other side of that from Jackson, Tennessee over to Huntsville, Alabama, down to Dothan, Georgia, and Tallahassee. And then most of the rest of the Florida Peninsula is under a marginal risk of severe weather for tomorrow. Here's one of the biggest risks for Sunday. This is significant severe, these hatched areas here from southern Arkansas, northeastern parts of Texas, most of the northern half of Louisiana, and all the way down towards Mobile, Jackson, Vicksburg has the biggest chance of seeing hail, probably in excess of 2 inches in diameter, possibly up to baseball size as well across this area. Oh, the rain for the next 7 days. We got just basically a deluge going on down here towards the southeast from basically the hills of North Carolina through most of South Carolina, Georgia, down through all of Florida. 3 to 5 inches of rain, and possibly locally 6 to 7 plus is possible over the next week across this area, on top of the rain you've already received this past week. So flooding is going to be starting to become a major concern across Florida and the parts of the southeast as we go forward into next week. Alrighty, here is right around 9 o'clock, which is in a few minutes. Basically, we got some. According to the HRRR, we're going to have a cluster of storms down here, basically hugging the Red River here in Oklahoma. A few storms trying to break out here in Texas, but look at this big line of this Boeing segment here. So once you get to basically right in the middle here, you're going to have some probably winds in excess of 80 to 90 miles an hour easy if you're in the path, especially where it bows out the most. The middle of that bow, basically, you're going to be under the gun for some very heavy winds. But you're going to be under the gun on either side of this as well. So you need to be prepared across all of Oklahoma, southern parts of Missouri, and into Arkansas as the night goes on. It's going to be a very long night for a lot of us across this area. Now let's get into. I can get this deleted. All right. So as we go forward here, this is 10 o'clock tonight, 11 o'clock. Storms are these storms that develop down here towards the Red River are starting to move northeast, and this big Boeing segment's moving east southeast as we go forward. So here's midnight. Fort Smith is going to get absolutely. It looks like it's going to get absolutely hammered if this model came true on this depiction. 12 midnight tonight, major storm coming through Fort Smith area. And then as we go towards 1 to 2 in the morning, it's going to bow out. It's going to really bow out and then consolidate to a huge line of storms as we go into Missouri now. It's already swept through most of Oklahoma. Some more developments behind that as well. As we go towards 3 o'clock in the morning, this line is looks like embedded supercell, especially on the southern edge of this line here. So need to be aware of that, because that'll have the biggest potential of those huge hailstones across parts of this area. So this is 3 o'clock in the morning. 4, 5. You see more storms developing behind this first line here. So this is not just going to be a one and done thing. We're going to have more storms tomorrow coming in at about 6 o'clock. Look at this. Look at these Boeing segments that are coming out. There's one here, another one here, another one here, one down here in Mississippi as well. So there's going to be a lot going on. You're going to get woke up, I promise you, when these storms start coming through, and it's just going to be continuously coming through. Now look at this big bow line that's reformed. This is 9 o'clock in the morning. This is coming through parts of northern parts of Louisiana, southern Arkansas. Some storms developing out here towards Mississippi. It's on this doorstep of Monroe. So probably between 8 to 10 in the morning, you're going to have a big line of storms coming into parts of northeastern Louisiana, then heading east of the Mississippi here as we go towards 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. And you can see there's more storms trying to develop up here in parts of southern Missouri as we go through Sunday afternoon. And then more storms are developing back here across Arkansas into Mississippi as we go into tomorrow evening. And then some more storms back here. Look at this. More storms trying to develop down here just south of Monroe and through central parts of Louisiana as we go to 10 o'clock tomorrow night. And then we're kind of done with it for a minute. So let's get to the southeast so you can see that. All right, so here's 11 o'clock tonight. Nothing really going on except down here in Florida. Might have a few hit or miss severe storms down here in Florida. And then we go to midnight. 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. We have some big storms trying to come in off the Gulf Coast here into Florida around 4 o'clock in the morning. 5, 6, 7, 8 o'clock. Here's 10 o'clock. And then you can see where the timestamp is up here in this corner here. So we're talking 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Storms basically coming through parts of Georgia into the panhandle of Florida. And then more storms coming through parts of Alabama as we head towards 3 a.m. on Monday. And then that's going to head southeast. And another big line of storms coming through Florida with some more behind it. This is why we're going to get a ton of rain down here over the next 7 days across the southeast. Like I said, 3 to 5 inches of rain, easy across most of the southeast, with those local amounts of 5 to 7 inches possible across this area. So there's basically kind of what's going to happen over the next couple days, severe weather wise, with some timing and stuff like that. Now we need to get into the tropics and talk about that real quick. All right, this is just off the Africa coast here. This is the Cape Verde or Verde Islands up here. Uh, this this kind of this is very rare for a tropical wave to come off the coast of Africa in the month of June and immediately start developing. This is very rare. I mean, it does happen from time to time, but this is super rare. Usually, we don't start seeing this kind of thing happen until like August. So, National Hurricane Center continues to monitor a tropical wave. This is Invest 92L now. It has a 60% chance of development within the next couple days into either a tropical depression or a tropical storm across this area. The system is beginning to show signs of organization, and they think it's going to become a tropical storm by early, maybe even by early to midweek, maybe by Monday even across the area. And it's going to be a long ways to go to get even close to the United States. Some of the steering currents I'll show you here in just a second of where I think this may go. But this is a 7-day graphic over the area. Kind of gives you a better scenario what's happening with this thing. So they're thinking 80% chance of tropical depression and tropical storm development over the next 7 days across this area, with a basically a west to finally a west westerly track as we get into very late week into next Saturday across the area. And then after that, we're talking probably another 5 to 7 days after that to even think about the any United States impacts, that is. But we're going to see where this thing goes. There is going to be a possible weakness in the high pressure up here across the parts of the Atlantic here that will try to pull this thing more northwest and north, hopefully, and steer it out to sea. But if it doesn't do that, then we'll have to we'll be monitoring it, of course. But keep this in the back of your mind. We have 10 to 14 days before we even think about the United States across this area. So I will keep you guys updated on this. And this weather lately has been absolutely remarkable. A lot of rare things is happening. I mean, the severe weather does happen along, I mean, in the South sometimes in June, but not to this extent. This has been continuously over the week. And then we have a tropical wave coming off of Africa immediately developing, which is very somewhat rare as well. So a lot of things happening in June here, so middle of June so far. So this is like I said, this is something to keep in the back of your mind. There's a lot of stuff going on right now. So just to wrap this up, like I said, this latest update from the Storm Prediction Center has expanded the enhanced risk even over towards Mississippi and northern parts of Louisiana now. So severe thunderstorms capable of producing damaging wind gusts of 80 to 90 miles an hour, large hail up to baseball size, and some tornadoes are possible over a vast area from Colorado to Florida. Basically, for tonight. Now the thunderstorms have somewhat diminished back here in Colorado because they have moved into more of a environment for more severe weather and those damaging straight line winds across Oklahoma for tonight. So, like I said, severe thunderstorms capable of producing very large hail, increasingly widespread, damaging gusts of 80 to 90 miles an hour, and a few tornadoes, of course. Will continue into Sunday morning across a broad area extending from the central and southern plains to Florida, like I said. So the zone of the most widespread damaging wind potential, consisting of one or more swaths of damaging winds, is evident from Oklahoma to northern Texas, all the way east to Mississippi through the overnight hours and into most of this out east here, especially in Arkansas, is going to be after midnight, especially here across northern Louisiana into Arkansas, and then over here towards Mississippi as we get towards daybreak tomorrow. So stay weather aware, keep those phones charged because when these storms come through in the middle of the night, you will be woken up. And with these damaging wind gusts of 90 miles an hour possible across parts of this area, you need a shelter like you are going to be sheltering for a tornado because that is how powerful these winds will be. So you need to take precautions when this big line of storms comes in the area. You have a way to get watches and warnings. Keep those phones charged, and if you have a NOAA weather radio, make sure that you have that battery backup. That battery is fresh, and so because if we get some of these bad winds, power is going to be knocked out. I promise you, and you won't have a way to get warnings unless your phone's charged, of course. But if the power goes out, some of those towers go down, you may not have cell service. So great tool to have is a no weather radio from Midland. It's like having a tornado siren in your house when there's a warning. Okay, it emits a 90 decibel alarm in your house. It's the best way to get warnings across the area. But like I said, if you have a phone, make sure you have a way to get warnings somehow, somewhere tonight and into tomorrow. Stay safe, everyone. I'll have another update tomorrow morning.